Africa, the birthplace of mankind. But it's not the past that brings me here, it's the future. Africa has just been plugged into broadband. And as the World Wide Web grows and spreads across the continent, it's transforming all that it touches. The small town of Abiriu in Ghana is just one of the latest to be hooked up to the globe. I'm traveling with Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the man who invented the web. It's 20 years since he made his breakthrough. And now the divide between the digital haves and have-nots is shrinking fast.
I think the web is about connecting humanity. Now that we've got to the point that 20–25% of the world are using it, then suddenly the question is, what about the other 80%?
This community center may not look like much, but it's the new frontier of this virtual revolution.
It was a little bit like going back in time to when people first came across the web. We wouldn't, in the early days have been anything like it's presumptuous as to say, how can we make sure this gets to the furthest reaches of rural Africa?
But what exactly is it that we've created over the last 20 years? What does it mean? Is our wired digital world a blessing or a curse? If the web does take root in Africa, as it has done elsewhere, then this will be the next continent to be reshaped by the digital revolution. But how has the web affected us in the 20 years since it was created? And what does that mean for the future of the people here and the majority of the world who aren't yet connected? The web is the defining technological revolution of our lifetimes. Almost 2 billion of us are now online. And in the 10 years that I've been studying the web and writing about it as a journalist, I've seen it take our world and shake it apart. The web has created unimaginable wealth, yet encouraged millions to work for nothing. It's challenged authority, yet allowed regimes to spy and censor as never before. And it's been blamed for creating a generation of web addicts, yet opened up new realms of knowledge. In this series, I'll be meeting all the pioneers and key players, everybody from Google to Facebook, Twitter to Amazon. The people who've helped bring about this seemingly unstoppable leveling of power, culture, and values that's having such an impact on all of our daily lives.
Well, the web is how mankind communicates nowadays.
It's like the internet has become a brain. It's the smartest brain in the world.
It is an empowering tool that has more potential than any other that human civilization has ever developed.
The world is just going to keep on getting more and more open, and there's going to be more information available about everything.
This is astounding technology, and we should just take a moment to celebrate the power and the reach that it gives us.
And so this is the story of the web. But it's more than that. This is also the story of how the web is remaking our world. It's been more than 2 centuries since we last witnessed anything of the same scale and speed as the upheaval now being ushered in by the web. The Industrial Revolution was powered by what was then a radical new technology: steam. And now the web heralds the next great revolution. Why? Well, because it does for information what steam once did for physical force. It supercharges it. The web allows anyone to publish and to distribute words, images, videos, and software globally, instantly, and virtually for free. 1/4 of the planet now uses the web. The web is a revolution. It's been hailed as the great leveling of humanity, a new frontier that gives us all equal access, equal voice, equal potential. The pioneers who paved the way for the web thought of it as the ultimate empowering tool, and so it came wrapped in an attitude, an online ideology that wants to give power to the people.
The internet is a kind of rebellion. These people were opposed to the notion of hierarchy and authority.
The people who originally created the internet were, by and large, social misfits who wanted to go on being social misfits.
In a way, the libertarians have found their way to a space that is perfect for them to play out their ideas.
It has completely blown apart and leveled access to communications and collaboration.
The web as a great leveler, of course, is one of the goals of the web.
In this film, I want to explore how the dream of leveling is playing out through the web, how it's overturning long-held notions of ownership, value, and expertise, how it's challenging business models, and how the equality promised by the web clashes with human nature, our innate desire to profit and control. It's about the meaning of this conflict and about how that has helped to create the web, this messy, beguiling, and hugely powerful phenomenon that we know today. The ultimate claim for the web as an empowering tool is that it blows open access to knowledge. To find out how, I've come to one of the new pillars of the American educational establishment. No, not an Ivy League college like Harvard or Princeton, but the town of Dixon, New Mexico, where they're celebrating Labor Day. I'm here to meet Einar Kvaran. Today, he's playing drums in his band. But at home, he's a quiet revolutionary. Einar is part of a remarkable endeavor that uses the web to allow ordinary people to create something extraordinary. He's a legendary and prolific contributor to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia that's becoming the most important information source in the world.
When I first heard about it, I thought this is the craziest thing. Can't possibly even happen. How can you have something that anybody in the world can edit? How can you trust it? What's even the point of it?
More than 65 million people around the world use Wikipedia each month. And instead of just accessing knowledge, they can author and edit it. The site's 14 million articles are the result of anonymous contributions from people like Einar, who don't need any formal qualifications.
I have a list of something over 1,000 articles. If anyone makes an edit in that article, it will appear on my checklist. And if I disagree with it, I will undo it. And then if they disagree with my undoing, they can undo it. So that's kind of the basic premise, is that anybody in the world who has access to a computer can get on and edit the information.
The idea is that instead of truth, knowledge, and accuracy being agreed on by experts and handed down by an elite from above, it will slowly emerge from the masses and come up from below. But by challenging centuries of scholarship, this new form of people power has ignited a huge argument.
I despise Wikipedia. I loathe Wikipedia. I'm appalled by Wikipedia. I use it throughout the day. I think that the web, its greatest miracle is of convenience, but the price they pay for being so speedy and available is in accuracy.
I challenge anybody to find a better, faster source of perfectly acceptable knowledge for almost all purposes that you would require as a normal citizen.
Wikipedia is a prime example of how the web seems to empower each and every one of us. It offers something for free, it undercuts authority, and it enables ordinary people to shape knowledge together. In other words, it fulfills the leveling dreams of the web's founding fathers. To understand how the web gave rise to Wikipedia, we have to understand the web's roots in a culture of free will and self-expression that can be traced back 40 years. The leveling ambitions of the online world can be traced back to the counterculture of the 1960s. And the epicenter of this hippie idealism? San Francisco.
No one really knows what's happening in San Francisco, but this is where it's at. Traditional home of the way out, today mecca of happy hippies who are cracking the smooth silhouette of America's materialism with that ultimate weapon, with love.
Amidst the ferment, a particular strand of a philosophy known as libertarianism began to take root. It was a mix of both left and right-wing ideas and rejected state control, the legal system, and censorship, while emphasizing the importance of individual free will. And while the countercultural dream would fade away in the real world, in the 1970s it found an unlikely place where these ideas would flourish. Previously, computers had been the preserve of governments, the military, and large corporations. But now, for the first time, smaller, cheaper models began to put the technology in the hands of the people. And something remarkable happened. This countercultural libertarianism found a new home on what was the early internet.
The most concrete legacy of the counterculture is the internet. The values, the organization, the rebellion, the resistance to authority were all encapsulated in the internet.
Cheaper computers allowed the first online communities to develop. The longest surviving and also the most influential was called The Well.
Over in the corner there, that actually is The Well right now.
It was set up in 1985 near, where else? San Francisco. And without The Well, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and all the other web communities may never have existed.
A lot of people see The Well as kind of a place where they live and exist in a not really intellectual, but in an information kind of sense.
I met a member of the Grateful Dead on The Well.
But there's a certain percentage of people in The Well who are what I would call intelligent misfits who've made it work for ourselves.
It was The Well that took libertarianism online. No one was more influential in driving this extraordinary transition than the man who founded it. Stuart Brand once published the Counterculture's Bible, the Whole Earth Catalog. He took part in a legal study of LSD and hung out with the Black Panthers. This is where The Well began, and what went on here has helped define the entire online world. At the time, a fraction of 1% of the planet had encountered the internet. The Well gave many people their first taste of cyberspace.
What was it like? I mean, there must have been such a sense at that time that you wanted to change things, that you wanted to revolutionize communication, knowledge, community, the whole shebang.
I think the assumption we were working on was that the revolution was in progress. We didn't have to push it. And mostly what was drawing us was a sense of both curiosity. What happens if you poke this, try that, think of the other thing. And part of what we were doing was basically making a scene. And so you just had this overlap of people who weren't rich yet, weren't powerful yet, but knew how much juice they had and what a huge opportunity space was opening up in front of us.
Usually I check in news first to see what kinds of interesting things are happening, and then I go to